welcome back. This is video number 3. Hopefully we've been together for videos 1 and 2. If not, then you might want to go back and check out 1 and 2. And you'll find out a little bit more about who I am. And maybe you've been to my web-dds.org website and found a lot more about who I am, at least from the dental area. I have a very powerful mandate to educate the public as to what basic dentistry is all about, so they can ask the right questions and determine something about the kind of care they get in dentistry. And these videos, hopefully, and this YouTube channel will accomplish the same thing for the healthcare system, for the medical area, the general and broader healthcare area. So this video is going to go over the healthcare system segment 1, which is the wellness community. If you've looked at the earlier recordings, the earlier videos, you probably saw that I have broken up the overall healthcare system into 4 basic areas or 4 basic segments. The wellness community, which is what we're going to go through right now, talk about who are the entities in that wellness community. We'll talk about the legal community, what entities are in there and how they interrelate and how they interact with your ability to get good healthcare. And then the healthcare industry, which is very vast and has a lot of profit-making companies and organizations within that. And then the regulatory community, who seeks to control all of the above. And so we'll sort of take these things one at a time for the next 4 videotapes. This one and then 3 others, we'll talk about those 4 specific areas. So as far as the wellness community, this is the mandate of the wellness community is basically your care. So everybody that's in here is fairly directly involved with you and related to you fairly intimately, and hopefully will establish quite a good rapport with you and give you the kind of care that you need. So who are the people in this wellness community? Well, we can start with teachers. Whoever is your provider was at some time a student, and they had a teacher in dental school, medical school, nursing school, wherever. Teachers are educating the aspiring providers. Hopefully they are mentoring them. If every student has a mentor that can help to guide them along the path to be able to practice well and in a caring way and serve their patients well, that's a good thing. And then, of course, the students who are hoping to become providers, whether they're MD students or DDS students or nursing students, they are basically learning information, they are learning strategies, they're learning skills, they're learning procedures, they are practicing on patients, and hopefully as well as all that basic didactic learning, they're learning how to be with patients, how to respond to what their needs really are. They may not be quite as obvious as it seems at first. Diagnostic procedures don't always reveal what's really going on with the patient. So keep that tucked in the back of your mind for a minute or 2. Okay, and then providers. There are mainstream providers. There are providers that could be called alternative providers. And there are also people that work with you directly that are licensed to perform certain ancillary duties. So let's break it down. So the mainstream or Western providers would be the MD, the physician, the DDS, dentist, DO, psychiatrist, podiatrist, RN, licensed practical nurses, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, midwives, registered dental assistants, registered dental hygienists, mid-level providers in dentistry, psychologists, nutritionists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, the list goes on and on. So all these people are licensed to work with you and have been through a intense training program to help diagnose and cure you, figure out what's wrong and see if they can effect a cure. And so that's their mandate. Okay, your care, but in a mainstream fashion, we'll find out what the alternative to mainstream is in a couple of minutes. The ancillary providers, X-ray technicians, lab techs, they don't work with you directly, but dialysis technicians, ultrasound technicians, you've probably all experienced one of those at one time or another. The alternative providers could be broken up into two groups, complementary medicine and alternative medicine. They are all more related to the mind-body connection and the mind-body spiritual connection. I think most people realize there's a lot to that. It's just not all the body. We don't know enough. We don't even know how the body works in enough detail. When I went through dental school and I took all the same classes as medical students were taking, I just was floored. I'd never had any of those classes before, and we're looking at physiology and histology and all those things, and it's like the more I learned, the more I was just amazed at how complex everything is. And certainly when I started taking pathology, and there are so many things that can go wrong, and we don't know half of what really causes it, and how to repair that, how to whether there are alternative ways of bringing comfort to somebody that suffers from a particular disease. We don't know much about that yet, but there are people that are really trying. Anyway, in complementary medicine, that may be chiropractors, acupuncturists, somatic experiencing, body workers, yoga, massage therapists, biofeedback. These are all people that offer you a very specific modality to help you deal with whatever issues you have, or just to help keep you healthy so you don't develop some issues. Alternative could be also more of the Ayurvedic medicine area or naturopathic medicine, energy modalities. There are some things like that a lot of people will absolutely swear by. And there are certainly many reports of people having achieved miraculous intervention in that way. Okay, so if we look at all that together and think about, okay, what could we do that sort of encompasses the best of everything? We might think of integrative medicine. We might even have a physician that represents himself as a integrative doctor, but has more than just the traditional MD training, for example. I would counsel, I'm always hesitant when I hear the word holistic, especially because of the way it's spelled. And I probably revealing a little bit of bias here, but I've worked with a lot of holistic dentists that have trouble with their license and need to do some remedial training to get their license back again because they've sort of overreached their bounds. But the way holistic is spelled is H-O-L-I-S-T-I-C, which sounds to me more like holy. I would rather have it being spelled W-H-O-L-I-S-T-I-C. So holistic dentistry, basically concerned about your whole being, your whole body, your whole existence. That I can get along with. So anyway, integrative medicine sort of falls into that camp, but how you represent yourself as a provider is important. And as long as you represent yourself in a way where you're really offering care that's based on the person. We've talked some, and we'll talk a lot more about the qualities, the personal qualities of people. And when we talk about the personal qualities of providers, that goes a long way if they're the right kind of person. And your personal, I might be talking to you now as a provider, but if you're a patient, your personal qualities as well will go into quite a bit. And what would help you achieve better care if you find yourself ill. All right, so we got teachers, we got students, we have providers of a variety of different sorts. We also have advisors, which basically fall into two camps, counselors and social workers. Counselors help you cope with whatever's wrong. Where the physician, their job is to diagnose and cure you, the counselors can help you cope with that. And for example, drug counselors are really important for addicts. drug counselors that have been drug addicts themselves or are currently addicts that have been, clean and sober for 30 years. That's a potent offering. That is a provider that can really accomplish a lot. Social workers, they assess your needs, and they are a lot involved with referral. They might refer you to counselors, they might refer you to any other kind of provider that's out there to help you basically get through what you need to get through. Another category, pharmacists. This has greatly expanded over the last years or decades. There are even compounding pharmacies where they make certain formulations for specifically for certain kinds of physicians that do things a little bit differently, where the drugs aren't necessarily made by the pharmaceutical companies. There may not be enough profit for the pharmaceutical companies, so there are compounding pharmacies that will provide formulations that are quite effective many times. Of course, these days, pharmacies are providing vaccinations. You don't have to go to your doctor anymore. Of course, with COVID, nowadays we're going to pharmacies. Those people that want vaccinations, that's where you're going to get it. The pharmacists will provide advice and safety information for the patients that are picking up medications as well. So that's a very impactful particular area there. Okay, now a really interesting one is unregulated media. That's what I'm doing right now. So unregulated media is a way for you to post opinion. You can influence the healthcare that people seek. So if you're posting opinions about healthcare, whether you're credible or not, whether you're spreading disinformation or good information, you're posting an opinion, people are looking at it, and that might influence them to seek one particular form of healthcare or another, or not to seek any. Now, that's not such a good thing if they're not particularly credible, but that's where you have to make the judgment. People that grew up, people of my age group that grew up kind of having the sense that when you look at something in writing that it's believable. That's the way it always was 50 years ago. We always sort of trusted that what the newspaper said was the truth. They were reporting on the news and so forth. And so a lot of times when elder people think that they see something in print, they tend to believe it. Younger people these days, I think they look at the unregulated media and they first tend to doubt it until proven otherwise. But people are influenced very much by Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all kinds of other things. And certainly we've seen how these platforms have been used very dramatically in political circles in the last 5 years. So that has really grown into something that is interesting to observe. I'll just put it that way. And then the final part of the wellness community is you. Whether you are a patient or a parent of a patient, or just pissed off because you can't get the health care that you need, or whether you're a family and a family participating in the health care for one of their members, as long as you know your needs, then you are off to a good start. Do you need to feel better? Do you want to get better? Do you want to stay alive? Do you want to die with dignity? At least you can expect to be treated with respect. I think that's something everybody recognizes as a need. And so we'll talk about, again, personal qualities a little bit later, but one of your personal qualities may just be developed that if you don't feel like you're being treated with respect, to speak up and say something, even though it's to a doctor. And I'll have a couple of examples a little bit later on where that has been done to great effect. And it's a very personal kind of thing. Okay, so I am a teacher. I have been a student. I have been a provider in both dentistry, and I'm qualified to be a provider in somatic experiencing. I'm just not experienced enough yet. to do that. And now I'm a participant in Unregulated Media, so go figure. That's the wellness community in a nutshell. There are a lot of people involved. All those people are at one time or another involved very much with your health. You're being cured from disease, you're being diagnosed, you're being cured, or just staying healthy, or reaching the end of your life in a good way. And so, those are all things that we need to be keeping in mind very much, that we're in part of this community, we're all in it together. So whether I'm speaking to you as a teacher or a student or a provider or a patient, we're all in this together, and we'll explore, what we might bring each of us to this relationship, to this human connection, so that it really works for everybody.